Our next data type is list. What is a list? List is a sequential data set, meaning we can create a bracket and we can put many kind of data variables in it. For example, here you can see that Sheldon, male and 25 I have put in a list. The lists are similar to array from which are in any other programming language, but the restriction with array is that it should have only one single type of data element, meaning if you are using integer values, then whole array should have integer values, and if you are using a string value, the whole array should have string values. But it's not true in the case of list of Pythons. That's why we call it a hybrid data type. So we will try to see in Spider how to define a list and how to work on it. First we will try to get a name of the list, like how to define a list. First we will give a name of the list, which is mylist1, and to define a list we need to put square brackets, and in this square bracket we can keep adding the element. For example, first element which I want to put is string. I will just put the name of somebody Sheldon. Okay, the second element I want to add is like male, which is also a string. If I want to keep adding element with a comma, I can just keep adding like 21 I want to add. And if I select it and if I run it, I can see that one string has been defined. This is a list has been defined. This is the list, and Sheldon, male and 21 are its elements. So how do we access the element from a list? It's similar to string. I will just say the name of the variable or list, and then I want to get the, imagine I want to get the 0th element. Just like string, the first element would be 0, second element would have index value 1. So if I want to just get the first element Sheldon, I will just say 0, and in output you can see that it has printed Sheldon. For similarly, if you put 1 it will give male, and if you put 3 it will give 21. So next part is how to append a list, meaning if I want to add one more element in the list. Imagine if I want to add one whole new list into this list, so I can define one new list like mylist2, and the values it should have are like, first value I say LA, then with comma I can give a second value, string value like number 27 I have given. The third value I can give one gibberish value of string like CR187754, some random value I have given. I'll just select it, and if I run it I'll get a mylist2. So if I want to add mylist2 to the mylist1, how do I do it? I can give a new list name. This is final underscore list that I have created the name of new list, and I can add mylist1 plus mylist2, and if I select it and I run it, and if I select it and if I use Control plus enter, I can see that a new list, final list, has been created, and we can see that it has Sheldon, male 21, and the second list mylist2 has been added to it. Now if I want to update any element of list, for example in this list, final list, I want to update the last element, which is I want to just edit 21, and now I want to change the value of 21. How do I do this? I will just say in the square bracket, then it's the third element, meaning the index value would be 2. I want to change it to, for example, 30. I will just say final list 2 and then 30. If I control and enter it, it will change its value. And if I try to print the final list, now you can see that the third element, which was index value 2, has been changed from 21 to 30. using one simple we will try to use some basics function on this also. For example, length. If I want to find the length of the string or number of values that I have in the string, I can find this by len function, which is similar to what we used on strings. I will use final underscore list, and if I run it, I can see that the number of values in this list are 6. If I want to delete any element, I can just use del, and then in final underscore list I want to delete the last element, which is 5, and if I control enter, the last element has been deleted. To check it, we can use final underscore list again, and if I try to run it, we can see that the last element, which was CR18754, has been deleted. Our next example is, next to data type is or object type is tuples. Tuples are very similar to lists. These are also sequential data type. You can add any kind of different kind of data variables, like if you want to add string or integer or any number value, you can add them. The only difference between a list and a tuple is that you cannot update tuple, meaning if you want to change any variable value of tuple, you won't be able to. So first we will try to define how to define a tuple. So to do that, we have to just use parentheses. For example, to define a list, we were using square brackets, and for tuples we will just use parentheses. I will try to define one tuple, which is my tuple, my underscore tuple, and the value in the parentheses. If I want to add a few values, I will try to add mark, which is one string, and then I will add male, and then I can also add a value which is like around 25. Arbitrary value I can add. If I try to select it and run it, it will save as a tuple, and if I try to use my tuple and run it, in the output we can see that there is a tuple mark male and 25. In the variable explorer we can see that my tuple, which is a tuple which has size of 3, and this is, and if you want to access any value of the tuple by its index, we can do that also, just like what we did in list and in strings. So my tuple, and I want to access the value at second index, which is 25. If I select it, if I run it, it will give me value 25. So we always have to use square bracket to access the index, be it any list, any string, or any tuple. So that's about the tuples. Now what's the difference between tuple and list? As I explained, tuples cannot be updated, meaning if you want to update or change the value of any value of tuple, it is not possible. For example, I will not define a new string. We can look at it in editor. We'll select one string, that is my list, Sheldon and male. If I want to change the value of 21 with the index value 2, I can use and assign a new value to it, like here, my list 1, and then I'll just select square bracket, and the index value 2 I want to change it to, imagine from 21 to I want to change it to 36, or so. If I run it, you can see in this my list over here in the variable explorer, it has been changed to 36 also. But if I try the same thing on tuple, my underscore tuple, and if I want to change the index value 2, which is 25, to any value like 30, and if I run it, I will get an error that tuple object does not support item assignment, meaning that we cannot change any value of the. Our next data type is dictionaries. Dictionaries have two major elements. First is key and its value. So basically dictionaries are also sequential data type, which is a collection of key and value pairs. Each key is separated from its value by a colon, and the items, meaning the pair, would be separated by commas. So whole thing would be enclosed in a curly bracket. So key in this example, if you see, this is a key and this LA is a value which is separated by a colon. Now the keys are unique within a dictionary, meaning the key like 0, 1 or 2, it has to be unique. It will not, you cannot repeat that when you are defining a dictionary. We'll just try to define a dictionary in our console. I'll just delete this, select all the data type and clean the environment. Okay, now if I want to define a new dictionary, the name of the dictionary I want to give is city and then equal to a sign operator, and then I'll have curly brackets. Inside this I will just give the first key value, key, and the value I want to assign over here is 0 LA, and the second pair I want to give the key as 1 and the value as PA. Third I want to do is give the key value 2 and the value inside I want to give FL. If I select it all and if I run it, we can see that we have defined a dictionary which has a size of 3, and this is 0 LA, 1 PA, 2 FL. Now if I want to access any element of the from the dictionary, I can be able to access it by its key value. For like city, if I use bracket 1 and if I select it and if I run it, I will be able to access PA. Next is, in a dictionary, keys are basically similar to indexes that we had in list. We can define our own indexes in dictionaries. Similarly, in list we don't have any option, but in dictionaries the indexes which are called keys in here can be defined by us. So how it changes everything, we will see it. Like I am defining a new dictionary name equal to operator, then curly brackets, and if I'm giving the first key as 1, not 0. I'm not starting from 0, and if I want to just give it a key 1, I can give it. I'm giving it the name value David, and then with comma I'll give one more with 6 key value, and the value is Bill. The third I'm giving is a key 9 and the value I'm giving is Jim. I'll just select it, and if I run it, I have created one new dictionary. Now if I want to access any value by, imagine, key 0, and if I run it, I'll get an error that there is no key 0. So if I want to access it correctly, I have to give either 1, 6 or 9 key value. Only then I would be able to access anything in this dictionary. 6 will also work, and if I try to run 6, it will also work. Now in dictionaries the key values do not necessarily have to be a number. We can also give one string value also. I will try to define one new dictionary which is edu, and if I want, I have defined it like in square bracket I will give, and then first will be David, and then the value in this David key I want to put it BSC, which should also have to be a string, because BSC can only be a string, it will not be a, so for a string I have to give 2 inverted commas. Second is Bill, and Bill key has value of, imagine, MSC. Third key is Jim, and this key have a value PhD, and if I run the whole edu, I get a new dictionary which looks like this in the variable explorer. Now if I want to access it with the key David, I can do it, but there is one problem which many people face first time if they are doing. If I just use David and if I try to run it, I won't be able to run it because the David is a string and I have to give a string value only. Now if I try to run it, it will give me the value BSc. Now if I want to change the value of BSc for this key value David, the value of BSc, I want to change it to MSc. So what I can do is I can just give the equal sign and give it MSc, and if I run it, the value of David key has been changed to MSc. If I run it, you can see that it has changed to MSc. Now can we update the key value? No, we cannot. What we can do is we can delete the key and value pair over here, and we can assign a new key value for this value. To do so, how do we do that? You will see like this. Like we had previously, we had an example city LA 1 PA 2 FL. In that we will try to delete first. To delete we use del, and then we say city and the key value which is 0. Imagine if I want to delete LA, I'll run it, then I get city which is now just 1 PA 2 FL. And if I want to add any new key with the same value in a new key, I would do something like city square brackets, and then I want to give a new key which is like imagine 6, and the value that I want to add was previously which was LA, so I will give it a value LA. And if I select it and I run it and I open the city dictionary again, I see 6 as LA. Next, using a few basic function of dictionary, we can use function dot keys parentheses and dot values parentheses to find all the key values and the actual value in the dictionary. So for example, if I do it with the edu, if I want to find keys, I will use keys and close the parenthesis. If I select it and I run it, all the keys in this edu dictionary, which is Bill, David and Jim, has been displayed. And if I want to get the values, I can get values and then parentheses, and if I select it and run it, I will get all the values of this dictionary.